Hello, you are listening to the Child Care Director's Chair podcast. Your host, Erica Sakosio, invites you to join her community of passionate and inspiring leaders in the ECE field, where she discusses, reflects, and shares the best ways to invest in our children, families, teachers, and community. Because after all, we know they are the heartbeat of any successful program.
Hey guys, welcome to the Child Care Director's Chair podcast. I am your host, Erica Sakosio, but you already know that because you tune in day after day after day. And if this is your first time on the show, I'd like to say welcome, and I'd like to personally invite you to be part of our community of inspiring educators who love to discuss, reflect, and learn about the best ways to invest in our teachers, our children, our families, and our communities. So welcome to our show. Today I'm going to do an Ask the Expert segment. We are getting some questions in through Facebook and Instagram, and so we thought we would start answering some of these questions on the air. If you have a question that you'd like to submit to the show, you can do that right below in the text to show notes, or you can hop on over to our Facebook page. We'd love to have you there to continue the conversation. So today's question comes from Florida, and it says, what methods do you use to establish strong partnerships with parents and guardians? So what methods? I use my face. I use my face, and I am in my building. So that's number one. I am at my centers. I do have 3 locations, and I visit all 3 locations. And when I say visit, meaning like one day I might work at one location, and the next day I'm working at the other location, and the next day I'm working at the school age location. And I don't really have a set schedule per se. I go where my heart tells me to go based on the pulse of my program. So what I mean by that is if everything is going great, that doesn't mean I don't go there. It means I go there and say, great job, team, keep it up, do a little love, a little recognition, etc. If I have a location that might be struggling, meaning I've got, a few parent complaints recently, or I've had some staff calling out a lot or leaving, I will, say, I'm going to go plug myself in there for a couple weeks, put my finger on the pulse, let me see what's going on, get my feelers on the ground, get some feedback from parents, some feedback from the staff, and see what direction we need to go from there. But I think the most important thing with establishing partnerships with parents is being present, like really present, like not just in the space, because I know there's lots of directors who show up and they go in their office and maybe, they'll come out, a few hours walking around and then going back in, really just being present and connected. So being aware of what's going on in the family when, you're greeting folks and you're listening to conversations that drop off and pick up. I don't want to say be nosy, but kind of be nosy, man. Know what's going on. Know if there was a loss in the family. Know if there's a birth in the family, a wedding in the family. They might be struggling with, something. Maybe it's paying the bills. Maybe you can help in some way. Maybe there are some community resources that you can give to the family that you haven't. Maybe if they're struggling, you have, folks in your program that multiple people are having a hard time with finding food because food is extraordinarily expensive, like everything else. Maybe you become part of the food program if you're not. Maybe you connect those folks with the local food bank or food pantry. But, just being present and being aware of what's going on in their lives, being friendly and fun, I think is important, and being knowledgeable. And being knowledgeable, not in a snooty way, because I think it's really important that parents feel like you are on the same team and that you are there to support their family. And sometimes we have to have difficult conversations, like any other relationship. I mean, I think it's the same as the relationship you have, with siblings or a spouse, right? Communication is important. Talking about ways to support each other might be something that you would do in those relationships as well. And I think it's the same with our parents. I think we really need to just be there be there and be an ear, and then also be there to support them and give them advice. You may have parents who are first-time parents, and having a newborn baby is very nerve-wracking. So how can you support that family? Letting them know it's okay. Letting them know there's no manual that came with the baby. And also letting people know you don't know everything in the world. So what you don't know, you'll let them know, I don't know, but we're going to help you find the answer to that. And then you do that. I also think being transparent is a way that I establish strong relationships with my parents, being transparent, being fair, being non-biased. Sometimes you might be working with the family where maybe there's two sets of families, if you will. Maybe there's a mom and dad who went through a divorce and they don't always see eye to eye. So, not taking sides, that's definitely important. But I think the number one thing is just, is communication. So what are some ways that I effectively communicate with the families to keep them informed about their child's progress, daily activities, and upcoming events? Well, okay, so we have the app, and you can send the app, and 50%, I know you're going to laugh because you guys have them too. So here's your parents. There's the 100% of the parents you have. 50% of them read the app. Of that 50%, maybe 20% of them read the app and every piece of information on the app from top to bottom, left to right. Others might open it up, peruse it, and say, okay, I've got the general gist of what's going on. And then you have other ones who I didn't download it. I didn't open my email. I get 1 million emails a day. So you have those folks too. So you have to have multiple ways that you communicate with your families. Like I said, I love in person. I love in person for many reasons. 1, they can see your body language. 2, they can hear your tone. 3, if they have a question or don't understand, they're able to ask you right away and you're able to answer right away. So there's not like a lot of back and forth where with the newsletter, they might send you an email and then you've got to email them back and then they send you an email. So I like the in-person, I think, is definitely effective. Also, having some reminders hung up on parent boards or sending reminders through messaging apps, that's great too. But also employing your team. Your team also have to be effectively communicating with their families. It can't just be you. So I think those are 2 ways that I really handle parent engagement and communication. And, parent boards, that's another way to not only build those relationships, but also get their feedback and communicate. Because a lot of times when you get those surveys, you're like, well, what do they mean by that? And folks typically get, upset, and we take it personal because this is our life's work. And many times your name is on the door. But I like, again, having those parent meetings because it opens up new perspectives that you may not have thought about. I can give you an example, and I did make reference to this in another episode, but we had a parent conference. It was part of our quarterly parent meetings for our quality readings. And a parent said, I love the community calendar that you do, but I think you should rethink some of the names of some of these events. Now, keep in mind, these events they're like annual events that we've been doing for 25 years. And one of the events was Muffins with Mom. And then we had Donuts with Dad the following month. And she said, I know that the love is there and I understand the intent, but why don't you just call it Donuts with Grown-ups? And I said, I didn't even think of that. Now, as odd as that sounds, because I'm very diverse, I try to be very open, but it was just a tradition that we were just so accustomed to doing. So I probably would have still been calling it that. But she's like, I think you should really just, knowing you, Miss Erica, I think you should change the name. And it took me about 2 seconds to go, you know what, you're right. I didn't even think of it that way. So a lot of schools have moved, obviously, towards that verbiage. And again, it was no disrespect or ill intent. It just was, we are creatures of habit. So sometimes, working with parents on boards really, really is a great way to help guide your program into the next generation of families. So there's that. So that's it for today's episode. I hope that it gives you something to think about and reflect and think about what ways that you are building strong relationships with parents. And maybe you can't always do it in person. Maybe you're going to do a video. I just think people seeing your face, seeing your body language is just so much more personal than any newsletter will ever be, any email will ever be. Even if you shoot a little video, I mean, everybody's got pretty high quality phones nowadays. But if you shoot a little video of yourself and it's to a new family, Hi, Miss Jones. I'm Miss Erica, and I would like to welcome you to XYZ Daycare. I am the owner. I'm sorry I didn't have the privilege to meet you at the tour, but I am looking forward to working with you and your family. Let them know when they can see you, how they can see you, etc. But I think it's a just nice little personal touch. So just little things like that I think are important because, again, like I say, it's the small details that matter. If somebody sends an email and someone sends a video, which one do you think is going to have the most impact? Clearly, it's going to be the video. So, so those are just some things to think about and reflect, as I know that you're all working really hard to have high quality, wonderful programs that really make people feel like they are part of what you're doing, part of your school community. We don't just throw that around, And so, that's what we're about here on this podcast, is really just making people feel connected to us. And we are such a major part of our communities, like not just our school community, but our actual communities. So think about how you're involved with your parents, because the more involved that you are with your parents, the more successful your business is going to be. They're going to rave about you at the playground, at the skate park, at the birthday parties, on social media. They're going to be the first ones who hop onto those community pages when people are looking for recommendations of childcare centers, and they're gonna, be spelling out your name. So again, not a marketing topic that I'm really per se. It's really more that connection of real, genuine people who have selected your childcare center or early learning center above everybody else's. And so you should be proud of that, but you want to continue to make them proud of the decision that they made in entrusting their child and their family with you. So that's it for today. And thank you so much for tuning in. Remember, it is the small details that make a big impact on the success of your child care program. And it is you who make us a success as well. So don't forget to hit that subscribe button, notification bell, all the things. Okay? Thank you so much. And as always, have a great day.
Well, all the cute little kiddos have been picked up and it's time to go home. And that'll do it for another episode of the Child Care Director's Chair. Please leave a review so Erica knows the information is helping you to manage and improve your childcare centers. Remember to subscribe to get the latest episode from Erica's Child Care Director's Chair.